I carry my Jamaicanness, as you can hear, even though I've been here quite a
Yes.
while. Very, very proud of my Jamaican background and my Maroon ancestry. I'm very proud Maroon. I'm from Westmoreland, so I came to the UK when I was quite young in 1996, and then I trained to be a nurse. So I went to Savlamar Infant School, Savlamar Primary School. Really fond memories of growing up in Jamaica in the mid to late 70s and 80s, and Gilbert in high school. I went to Manning's in South. So then I went to CAST, now UTech. I studied business administration, majored in marketing. Can you imagine what a shift?
How you doing a bit of that in terms of your
Yes, yes. And that's why they say no education is ever wasted. Because, even when I studied marketing, we never knew anything about social media marketing, but it helps me in terms of how I would market myself and what I do on social media. So yeah, I came here in 96, and then I finished my training as a nurse 20 years ago. So yeah, my family live in Petersfield in Westmoreland. My dad is Basil Chambers. He's a retired head teacher. So his last school was at Petersfield Comprehensive, and my mom was a teacher as well. So yeah, I am the middle daughter out of three. So yeah, it's been. I carry my Jamaicanness, as you can hear, even though I've been here quite a
yes.
while. Very, very proud of my Jamaican background and my Maroon ancestry. I'm very proud Maroon. My dad's family originated from Bet Salem, which is 3 miles from Akompong. So I'm very proud of my Maroon ancestry and what that makes me more resilient and tough, even though might not look it, but inside you have that Maroon mindset. So I use that a lot in terms of my social media and motivating other people, because it's tough. But at the same time, if you surround yourself with people who will help you when you need that support, then that is good. So yeah, I've been here working through and up. It's been an uphill struggle. It hasn't been easy, I won't lie. It has been hard. As a first generation immigrant, it is quite challenging to navigate, the professional space, because number one, you're in a new country with new culture and everything. You're away from your social networks, so you have to form new social networks, and that can be hard. So I've had to really have good mentors and supporters over the years to help me to progress. But yeah, this opportunity is really groundbreaking and trailblazing for me. It is an opportunity that I take and I accept humbly, that I'll be learning every day. But it's an opportunity for me to really help to set nursing and midwifery policy in the city of London, and how we can share that globally. It's the International Year of the Nurse, so it's a really good time for the focus on nursing. And with COVID, we have seen across the world, and in London in particular, the role that nurses have played in the COVID response as well. So yeah, it's a good time to really be promoting the role of the nurse and the image of what a senior nurse leader looks like.
I wanted to zoom in a bit specifically as to some of your memories here in Jamaica. You mentioned Gilbert. Maybe you could just tell me specifically what you remember, what that period was like for you.
Well, I remember it fondly because I love the sunshine. So I remember being able at that time, back in those days, we're going back a while, just playing, playing on my bicycle. I was a kind of tomboy, so I would be riding with the boys and playing cricket. I remember things like that. I remember school in Jamaica was, you had teachers who were really passionate and who instilled in you a sense of pride in terms of your education, and that has stayed with me throughout. And I remember having good friends and nice food. I mean, that is something that I remember about Jamaica. Um, I remember that there was always, you know, people with different backgrounds coming together. So you had sometimes really poor, and then you had really affluent, and then you come to school, and that education was kind of the equalizer where you were in the same boat and you had the same opportunity. So from an early age, I remember I had a teacher, a Jabi at Manning's, who used to say, we must not look back at our time and say, if I did know. And I always remember that I'm not going to be one of them who look back at my education at Manning's and say, if I did know. So, you know, when you have teachers like that who sometimes they use fear to kind of make you stay focused, but it was important to have them to kind of let you know that this is important and you need to stay focused. So you're developing that really focused mindset where you have goals and you're going to really push yourself to achieve the best that you can be. So yeah, Mannings and Jamaica on a whole, and that sense of pride that we're little, but we tall. You know that thing about it doesn't matter how we might look little on the map, but when we come to represent and representing a whole people. And we go through life like that. We're not representing just ourselves. We're representing a whole people and we want to push doors open for others behind us. So yeah, really
Always
positive.
great impacts, right? Always great. But you mentioned about the uphill struggles. If you could just speak specifically about some and how, you know, being a Jamaican helped you to push through.
Yeah, my uphill struggle started from Jamaica though, because I was very quiet. So I'm naturally a very quiet person who won't say much. The words are there, but because of shyness, I wouldn't say it. So I would always kind of other people would always get that limelight in front of me. So I had to really push myself out of my comfort zone to kind of come forward and do things like this. But when I came to England, I realized that pushing forward was something that was in my DNA. And I think that's the maroon mindset coming through, where I would realize that I would be facing challenges in terms of because of my race, because of my background, that certain opportunities might not be as easy for me. But I realized that if that's where I really wanted to be and I could make an impact there, that I would carry on. And I learned very quickly to be astute and to have discernment. So I'll pick up on who I can trust and who I couldn't trust. And that has been something that I would pass on if I had to give advice in the future. In terms of when you're really trying to get ahead, it's important that you don't trust too quickly. You need to really be sure that people have your best interest at heart before you share your plans. So that was something that helped me in terms of when I was applying for different courses. You know, when I was applying for my master's, people tried to put me off and said, I don't need it for where I'm going. But because I realized that at that time, having a first degree was what jobs were asking for, but we realized that in the future, you would need a master's. So it was important that you prepare for the future. So yeah, that bit about knowing who you can trust and asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. That is something that I learned very early on. And so I'm very humble in terms of if I don't know, I'll say, I don't know, but I'll find out.
Just in terms of the future, you were speaking about preparing for the future. What does your future look like? What would you want it to be like?
Well, now that I'm in this job, my future and my aspirations have changed slightly. I am more I am more ambitious now for my future personally, and I would say that in the future I would see myself taking on a role that is a more national role. So after I've grown into this regional role and had the maximum impact in terms of London, I would then start to think, how can I use that learning and that skill set to really take on a role that is more national and having a greater reach and even international. I would like to be giving back to Jamaica healthcare system in any way that they think that I could maybe add some value. So that's where I would see myself going a national role in education and training because I'm passionate that people should have equal opportunity to education and training. So in the healthcare space, but maybe a national role.
Okay, fantastic. As you take on this job, I know it's just 3 weeks, but what do you enjoy about it already, and what's the major challenge you're seeing so far?
Yes, so because of the second lockdown that we're in London, I haven't actually left my house yet. So in terms of meeting my team, everything is being done virtually. So that is a drawback in terms of you're making first impression in a little box. But what I really enjoy is that all my learning and my training over the last 20 years have equipped me to be really confident in terms of my own position on certain subjects. So whatever I think is a professional judgment, is not guesswork. So I am confident that actually I can add something to the conversation. So I like the fact that I am linking in with people who are in different roles in the universities, as well as in the providers, in the hospitals, in the GPs, in the community nursing. I am able to add my voice to the conversation. So I'm at the table influencing policy. And you can see that as a burden, or you can see that as a real opportunity. And I choose to see it as an opportunity to make sure that we value equality, diversity, and inclusion, that we make sure that people feel valued, that the image of nursing is seen as positive. So yeah, I really enjoy the fact that I am not alone, but at the same time, my voice matters. And that is powerful.